As we can see, we dipped below it, but we did not actually ever close below that low. So it was never actually confirmed a breakdown of this wedge. As we saw, it came back into this wedge formation, and then it actually blasted right out of the top.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wagmi TV. We have a really exciting one for you guys today. We are going back to Aerodrome Finance, ticker AERO. Obviously, a lot of exciting news in the crypto market, and alts are pumping. Bitcoin's been pumping, relatively speaking. And Aerodrome has been a significant beneficiary of that. So I know when we talked about it, it was at a significant low. And now we're seeing some action on it. So we're going to talk key levels. We're going to talk what's kind of causing that bullish movement, in our opinion. But as a reminder that this is not financial advice, entertainment purposes only. But with that being said, we're going to kick it off and go through some chart analysis with Mata.
Yeah, let's bring it up. So super exciting stuff. I know the last time we did a video, these lines should look fairly familiar. We essentially had this wedge coming out, as well as obviously the most local low being the low that we were potentially targeting, and then two of these additional resistance points. As you can see, I believe it was right around the 5th or 6th that we made that video. Essentially what we were saying was, hey, this could get slightly under here, but as long as it doesn't confirm, we can still be bullish on this, essentially this movement. So as we can see, we dipped below it, but we did not actually ever close below that low. So it was never actually confirmed a breakdown of this wedge. As we saw, it came back into this wedge formation, and then it actually blasted right out of the top. As we kind of mentioned on that as well, once we confirm a move either up or down from a wedge, typically you see a pretty massive move. So we actually saw this move upward, get close to this next resistance line, come back and retest this support, come up, again, retest this as this previous resistance as support, and now we continue to run up. So we've actually seen a very, very strong move, broken through a couple of different resistance levels, broken out nicely from the pattern that we had talked through. So if you took this trade back when we talked about it, whether it's for a short term, medium term, etc., congrats to you. Definitely pat yourself on the back. That was awesome. If you didn't, if you watched this thing break out and then you took some of these trades on the pullbacks, again, congrats to you. That's super awesome. I think you're up pretty nicely on this. We're coming back towards around $1. So we are coming into some decent resistance here. So I would say this is a bit of resistance. As you can kind of see, we're starting to tail off a little bit. I would say the next big zone that we would be looking at is actually the connection between these two lows and kind of the local high that we've seen lately, which is up here in the $1.24-ish range. Oddly enough, right? Over a solid period of time into October, we're actually looking at that being matching up with some of the resistance zones from some of these highs as well. So this would kind of be the next target from here. Again, when we have moves like these, we would expect some pullback. So if you're feeling bad about missing this trade, definitely look for some of these support zones for it to hold and then pop back up, hopefully to see some of these highs again. But yeah, I mean, it's super exciting stuff. Couple pieces to break through. But yeah, I mean, really, really great stuff from the folks that actually went in and took some of these trades. And congrats to the fellas on here. I know a couple of us had actually entered some of those trades as well. So nice work, guys. I know we've always been pretty bullish on AERO. It was a little bit bleak for a minute, but patience is always key. So nice work, guys.
Yeah, big shout out to Mata for giving everyone the stone cold bottom right there. Up pretty good off that, so good stuff, Mata. TA treating us right out here. And again, big shout out to the listeners, anybody who took the trade. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did. Let us know if you did. Let us know if you didn't. All is well. So now getting into the fundamental stuff. So obviously the chart is super bullish. We have some good news on the fundamental side, some good updates and stuff like that. We've been digging through the data a little bit, and so wanted to share with you guys a few bullish updates that we found on AERO. So first thing we want to look at, obviously, is the TVL. Obviously, TVL isn't necessarily like the primary metric to gauge like DEX is on a lot of the time, but it's obviously one that you like to see if it's going up. And what you see here is like right from the kind of the beginning of the month to now, we've seen about like 400 million in TVL growth, 300 to 400 million, which is really awesome to see. And so we wanted to look a little bit deeper into what was actually causing that. And so we've probably showed this Dune dashboard before, but if you come down here, you can see in the last 2 epochs, there's this massive gray box that shows up, meaning that a new pool has been started and has accumulated a load of TVL. And that's clearly like, an outlier here if you compare it to the previous epochs. And if you come over here, what you see is that pool is actually the wrapped ETH pool. And so we were like, what is this? Like, let's go try to find out what exactly this is. And so we came across Origin Protocol. They've had a few different products in the past and ones that I've heard of before, but this it's called Super OETH. And so if we go over here and check this out, what you can see here is, beyond liquid staking on L2. And so we come down, it's basically like a yield generating, like high yield generating Ethereum product. And we come down here and we realize, okay, supercharged LSDs, this is all cool, how it works, some L1 yield along with compounded rewards. And then boom, we get to the explainer here on what's going on. Protocol owned liquidity ensuring 1-to-1 ETH peg. This is an extremely bullish update, guys. Basically what this means is this protocol has taken a position, most likely in the AERO token to incentivize voting power to keep that 1-to-1 peg. Also, they've deposited a ton of their own protocol-owned liquidity, meaning their own protocol treasury, essentially, into Aerodrome. And that's caused a massive spike in the TVL. Obviously going to be an important pool to look out for. You're going to have a yield-bearing asset that's yielding like 17%, I guess, as well as like all the rewards and stuff that they're likely going to be voting and pushing to this pool. So definitely going to be a lucrative pool, if I had to guess, for any farmers out there and any people who want to farm and earn yield on Ethereum. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of what we found. Definitely a bullish update. Ev, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Within that website, do you find like their strategy that they use for this yield, like anything more specific? I think when we've looked at what was it, overnight finance, they did a really great job talking about their delta neutral strategies that they were using for their stablecoin yields. And essentially that was taking, a position on the top side of ETH and on the bottom side of ETH, and essentially just, being able to gain yield no matter where the ETH price went up or down. So I'd love to see like if there was any more technicals on how they're able to build like that 60%, because when you look at ETH LSTs, 16% is much higher than, not much higher, but is significantly high for like that asset category. So I'd be interested to learn about how they're doing that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's something we can definitely link the documentation. It's a little bit much to go through on this video. If you guys, as the listeners, want to hear like in depth on specifically on supercharged OETH, we're happy to do a video on that. So definitely let us know. But we'll keep the documentation linked in the description below, and you guys can check it out.
Yeah. And so with that pool, Zoe, what were we seeing with TVL? Was it 200 mil? That was just with that pool?
Just in that pool alone is up over 200 million now.
That's crazy. So I mean, yeah, we saw the protocol, TVL almost go up, 25% or 20% with the single new protocol coming into the Aerodrome Finance platform. And I think this was something that we talked about. We were talking about, hey, this initial run up was super bullish. It got a ton of attention for that run up that we saw a couple months ago. But now we're seeing a time where new protocols can come in and accumulate because maybe they miss that initial, entry spot and want in. And we're seeing exactly that. It just takes time for these new protocols to come in. So, I think this is really the first protocol to come in, first huge protocol to come in after that initial pump. But I don't think it's going to be the last. And so I think time will tell, kind of how this TVL continues to rise as new protocols come in.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think the other thing, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but Bitcoin is obviously the largest asset in the crypto space, and I think there's going to be a rush to figure out in the decentralized world how to get yield on Bitcoin. And the sixth largest pool in Aerodrome Finance is CBBTC, right? And so I think we're getting bullish announcements from the SEC and several banks that banks are expected to start being custodians of Bitcoin next year. And so if Aerodrome and other platforms can kind of get ahead of that a little bit, I think that's a huge opportunity as well. We might see other protocols come in supporting Bitcoin on Aerodrome as well. I think that bodes well for TVL. So that'll be interesting to kind of keep tabs on too. But I think Aerodrome's in a great spot right now.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. And just to bring up the actual announcement for CBBTC, we saw CBBTC get launched officially on September 12th, 2024. So as of recording 12 days ago, a super new product and one that I think we, like you said, Sia, we've been looking for ways to gain yield off of that Bitcoin that we hold and, can't really do anything with it. And this is not the first, Bitcoin wrapped token on Base. You obviously see wrapped Bitcoin out there, WBTC, but there's also another protocol, Threshold, that has TBTC. And so I think this is, maybe the second, third, or fourth relevant BTC wrapper token that's coming into the Base ecosystem. And I get the feeling that it's going to continue because you're right. There's such a huge opportunity for DeFi involving Bitcoin, and people are only starting to kind of get access to that. So yeah, that's pretty cool to see.
100%.
That's a great point. Love it. I think that wraps us up for today. Great points all around, and great snipe on the bottom there, Mata. Hopefully, if you were able to get on that trade, you saw basically a 2x, so maybe even a little bit more than that. And so that's awesome. Well, to the listeners, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe if you got value. If you're still on AERO, great. If you're going to hit that trade or not, let us know, and we're happy to cover Aerodrome continuously into the future. Make sure that you guys are up to date. But again, like, comment, subscribe if you got value. And until next week, Wagmi.